Welcome to our podcast, Between the Fence Posts, where we discuss all things related to agriculture and how they impact our local communities here in East Tennessee. Whether you're a farmer, gardener, or just looking for some updates about the ag world, we're glad you're here with us. Give us a like and subscribe to receive updates for our latest content. Thanks again for being here. Now, let's get into our next episode. Good afternoon, everybody. It is April the 8th, 2025 here, and it is a beautiful day. Sun shining, a little bit of cloud cover here in Jefferson County, but nonetheless, it is a very nice day out there. A little bit cooler than what we've been the last couple of weeks here. We got unusually warm, and spring green up has already hit, I'm afraid, and I think we're about to get maybe a frost or two this week. I hope we don't get one from multiple standpoints, but anyway, that's kind of what the conditions are like today, and anyway, here in downtown Dandridge. So, first and foremost, we got some local updates to bring for you today, but over the last week or so, there has just been a tremendous amount of weather, flooding, lots and lots of rainfall. I saw a stat the other day on Facebook that said it was so much water that was dumped on the eastern prairie of Arkansas. I can't even fathom the amount. I can't even remember it off the top of my head. But millions and millions of gallons of water from rainfall directly to the eastern prairie of Arkansas, and then right next door is West Tennessee, and I know we had a lot of neighbors in West Tennessee that had some damage, not just from flooding, but from tornadoes as well. And so first and foremost, we just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with those that are impacted by the flooding and the storms in West and in Middle Tennessee as well. And I know I also saw on social media that the Buffalo Trace Distillery up in Kentucky, in that area, got completely flooded. And so there's just a lot of widespread damage that we've had over the last couple weeks here in the Mid-South. And so, our thoughts and prayers are out there with everybody. And it just seems like we can't get out of Mother Nature's way here in the state of Tennessee for some reason. Particularly in the last year with all the flooding we had up here in Upper East Tennessee in last September, October, in that time frame, and then now we're in tornado season and flooding. So like I said, just can't seem to get out of the way of Mother Nature, and hope and pray that we'll all get some relief here soon. But again, our thoughts and prayers are with those that are being impacted and displaced, and those who have lost loved ones in these disasters. So again, prayers are with you. And as usual, we're going to go ahead and move on to our market highlights here. Again, if you don't know where these are at, these are online, available every single day. You can go back and look at historical data from the market highlights from Dr. Smith and Dr. Griffith. But we're going to dive into those real fast. I know cattle are up, or at least they have been, and this is the report from April the 4th. And like I said earlier, we were recording this on April the 8th, so this is a couple days old here, but they come out with these on every Friday afternoon, so some weekend reading if you want to peruse that online as well. Okay, so slaughter cows were steady to $1 higher. Slaughter bulls were, again, steady to $2 higher. Feeder steers, unevenly steady, up and down a little bit there, but overall pretty steady. Feeder heifers, up a little bit, $2 to $4 higher. The feeder cattle index wound up at 291.93 last week. And fed cattle, the 5 area live price on Thursday was $212.26. That's up about a cent compared to the week prior. And then for dressed was $337.36, which was up $4.13. So pretty good bump there. Corn closed at $4.60 a bushel, up 7 cents over the previous Friday. Soybeans closed at $9.77 a bushel, down 46 cents over the board the Friday prior. Wheat closed at $5.29 a bushel, up 1 cent from the previous Friday, and then cotton closed at $63.36 per pound. Take that back. That is not $63 per pound, my bad. 63 cents per pound, down about 3.5 cents over the previous Friday. So, again, that is not $63 per pound of cotton. Lord, we'd have a lot of people planting cotton in East Tennessee if that was the case. So just to make that correction there. But again, those are just a snapshot of your Tennessee market highlights. Again, those are available online every Friday afternoon or Friday evening. And you can find those on the Ag Econ website online and get you some economic updates there and what the market's looking like overall. I move on to local programs here. Of course, here, like I mentioned in the last local update, we have got a backyard poultry processing workshop coming up that I'm putting on here at the office. And we're going to go over a host of things, but Mr. Tom Risen from Claiborne County has been kind enough to come down and join us for the afternoon on May the 15th. And so we will be having him come down and show us basically the how-to of from step one to the very finished product of how to grow and raise your own meat birds for processing, and then actually do a live processing demonstration here outside our office. And so Tom's very knowledgeable, really, really great guy. You'll learn a lot from him. And there is a small fee associated with that. There's a QR code here on the flyer we've got on our Facebook page. And if you want to reserve your spot, please call the office ASAP because we're already probably about halfway filled up or just a little over halfway. And lunch and notebooks will be provided for all participants at that workshop. But we please ask that you RSVP by May the 12th or until the class fills up. But like I said, we're almost, if not a little over halfway filled, so just make sure you go ahead and find your spot. And if we do have enough where we need to start a waiting list, we may look at doing this program again in the fall or definitely next spring sometime. So no worries if you can't make it work for your schedule. We will have to do it again sometime, again either this fall or next spring, which is a good problem for us to have. And the next program I want to advertise to you is coming from the Appalachian RC&D Council, and this is going to be a Women Preserving Farmland for the Future. It is a workshop that is being put on by a couple different folks here, being collaborative, Tennessee Valley Authority, USDA, NIFA, and again, the Appalachian RC&D Council. This will be hosted at our Jefferson City Public Library, and it is the registration's going on through, again, the RC&D and our local NRCS, FSA offices here. And so I'll just read you the description really quickly. This course will consist of 3 4-hour sessions directed by women professionals in the industry and will include a meal. Each participant will receive a toolkit of resources, including the University of Tennessee's Planning Today for Tomorrow's Farms, a workbook for Tennessee farm families. So if you're not familiar with what that book is, it is very similar to the book that you will receive if you go through the, the Farmland Legacy. I just drew a blank there in the middle of that sentence. Farmland Legacy, it's the same book there. And so the Jefferson County Workshop will be from May 5th through the 7th. That will start at 11:30 a.m. every day and end around 4 o'clock. The small fee is $30 to attend all that. And again, that will be hosted at the Jefferson City Public Library at 108 City Center Drive in Jefferson City, Tennessee, 37760. You can register by, they have a QR code here on the flyer, or if you have any questions, you can call 423-218-2068. You can also register or visit for some more info at arcd.org/farmland. So that's another way you can find that resource online. But if you want to call here at the office, I'll be glad to point you in the right direction if that's something that interests you. Ladies in particular, sorry fellas, you won't be able to attend that one, I don't believe. But that leads us to our last little update here before we move into our timely tips and topics, and brings us to Ag Enhancement, another deadline coming up for those who have participated in the genetics program through the Tennessee Ag Enhancement program this year. Your genetics deadline for reimbursement requests is June the 1st. So if you have requested funds to, purchase a new bull, for example, make sure that you get those reimbursement things in by June the 1st, okay, whether it's online or mailing those in. So make sure you get that done if you haven't done so already. And if you're still in the market for a new bull, that leads me to my next thing is the University of Tennessee Research and Education Center over at the Blount unit, which is part of the East Tennessee Research and Education Center. They are having their annual spring production sale. It will be April 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. This is actually going to be a live auction and sale. It will be hosted at the East Tennessee Livestock Center in Sweetwater, Tennessee, and the address for that is 2121 Highway 11 North, Sweetwater, Tennessee 37874. And again, that's the University of Tennessee Blount Research Unit production sale, April 25th, 7 p.m., East Tennessee Livestock Center, 2121 Highway 11 North, Sweetwater, Tennessee 37874. And I've got the little pamphlet here. You can find this online. I know it's floating around Facebook a little bit if you want a copy of this. We've got a couple of copies here in the office if you want a physical one to lay your hands on. Or I can just email it to you either way. But I would love to get your hands on it. And these animals are from the research farm there in Blount County, I should say. And the bulls are registered. They are TAEP approved. We've got all their EPD numbers right here sitting in front of me as I look at the brochure right here. They also have some heifers available. So if you guys are looking for heifers, I do not know if those heifers qualify for ag enhancement or not. But I know that they've got good data on them and can tell you, who the sire is, who the dam is, things like that. And I'm looking at a couple of them right here as far as the breeds. A couple of them are Hereford Angus crosses, but the majority of them are purebred Angus. So, but I know the guys down there at the farm personally, Brandon and Jacob and the crew down there. They do a really good job and take a lot of pride in their breeding program. And so it's a good opportunity for those of y'all who might be in the market for a new bull to get you one that might qualify for ag enhancement, or if you're looking for a replacement heifer. And go and see her and know exactly where she comes from, be also a good option for you as well. But again, that ag enhancement deadline is June the 1st for genetics requests and reimbursements, so make sure you get all your paperwork and stuff in and submit it on time, okay? All right, now let's move on to our timely tips and topics. Moving right along with production ag, kind of staying towards that livestock side of things today. And we're going to talk a little bit about working and vaccinating livestock, particularly cattle is what we have a lot of here in Jefferson County, but excuse me, but it's about that time. I know that we were going to work some of my in-laws a couple weekends ago, and one thing led to another, and weather kind of got in the way, but it's about that time to start working and vaccinating some livestock and getting them prepped up for spring and summer turnout, and making sure they have all the things that they need to perform to the best of their ability for us, okay? And then the next big one, and kind of already saw some people doing this last week, but hay equipment maintenance and preparation. The last thing we want to do is have hay ready to cut and got the weather to do it, and all of a sudden we have a mechanical breakdown, which breakdowns happen, but sometimes that maintenance could prevent that in the long run. And so making sure that all of our equipment's up to date as far as making sure we have belts, bearings, all that kind of stuff ready to rock and roll. Simple things like making sure tires are inflated on a baler, things like that. Don't want to let that slow us down and get in the way of getting some hay in the barn. No pun intended there. So a couple of things there to look forward to from the production ag side of things. And then as we move on to gardening, I know that a lot of people are really getting the itchy trigger finger as far as putting stuff in the ground. I wouldn't get too quick with it just yet. Still in that cool season type of mind frame here, and personally I think. But we are coming up on hopefully maybe a window to get some sweet corn planted in the near future. I'm talking maybe even next week, potentially if we keep in that 70s, maybe even touch the 80-degree mark again. And every single day we get closer and closer to April 22nd, which is our last frost date here in the Knoxville area. The closer and closer we get to April 22nd, the more and more comfortable I am putting stuff in the ground as far as direct seeding and even transplanting. But the catch to all that is, just because the last frost date passes on the calendar does not mean that it won't frost after the last frost date, or doesn't mean the soil temperature is right for our plants to thrive immediately as soon as we transplant them or directly seed them in the garden. Tomatoes are a good example. A lot of people, wait to plant tomatoes till the soil temperature is a little bit warmer. That's a really good reason why and a good example, because tomatoes, you can plant them, after the last frost date, they'll be okay, or transplant them, but they oftentimes will just sit there until that soil temperature gets right, until it gets warm enough, and then they really start to jump as soon as you see that soil temp spike a little bit. And so that's just something to keep in mind. And I know, people are thinking about sweet corn. I am personally. We like a lot of sweet corn at my household, but also early veggies like cucumbers and squash are probably your 1 and 2, give or take, whichever one you like the most. As far as the next ones, you can direct seed into the ground right there about the 1st of May. So just keep that in mind. But again, our last frost date for here in the Knoxville area is April 22nd. I know friends over on the plateau, you're a little bit later, and I know way up towards Mountain City, you're a lot later. And just keep that in mind depending on what your elevation is and where you're at are locally in the great state of Tennessee here. All right, now let's last but not least talk about lawn and landscapes. And I had a question the other day that got me thinking about lawns in particular and the timing of herbicide applications with fescue and Bermuda grass lawns. And so a gentleman called and asked me about, this may be in a situation you have personally, but say you have a fescue lawn and somebody else has a Bermuda or a zoysia or something else that's a warm season. And, obviously the question is, what do I spray it with? It's not going to kill my fescue, right? Well, there's 2 really good products out there. And Fusilade is kind of the one it's kind of the tried and true one. However, the catch when you're spraying it on fescue to prevent Bermuda is that you want to spray that at the right time. And we're not just trying to limit it to this exact topic or this exact product per se. But with any herbicide in a turf grass scenario, you've got to make sure that you're doing it at the right time, because it might kill whatever you're after. However, it could also kill what you're not intending it to injure. And so you have to make sure you follow by the label instructions, make sure you're spraying it at the right time. And also, we've got a host of folks down at the UT Turf Labs at Knoxville. Dr. Brosnan, he's an excellent resource. He's our extension specialist for turf grass, weeds, and so he's only a phone call away from me. But if you have any questions about that, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, text, whatever it might be, or come by the office. I'll be glad to help you out. And like I said, we've got a host of folks down there that are excellent resources in the turf grass world down there. So anyway, that is about it for today's timely tips, topics, and local updates, folks. If you have any questions or if you need a farm visit, home visit, anything like that, spring is always a fun time of year for me to get out and about. While it is a busy time of year, I love to not be in the office too terribly much recording a podcast. I'll be frank and honest with you. But it was about time for a local update, and I wanted to bring that to you guys today. And so with that being said, I'll highlight one of our next full-length episodes we have coming up is we're going to talk a little bit about beef cattle genetics and reproduction. I know this is going to hit a lot of the production ag folks out there. And, we're going to have a guest on who is very, very knowledgeable about the reproduction side of things and the genetics. She grew up on a registered Angus farm and still operates that today alongside her family, and she's going to be very, very knowledgeable, and looking forward to that episode. And that will be recorded probably in that first week of May, I believe. First or second week of May is when we've got it on the calendar. So that'll be coming to you here in the next little bit, and we might get a full-length episode in before then, just depending on what the schedules work out with the busy springtime and spring green up. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Please, if you have a moment, please share the podcast, whether it's on social media with your family, friends. Would love to try to build this following even more and bring more good content to you. If you don't know, we're on YouTube and Spotify, so wherever you're listening, please share both platforms if you don't mind, or share wherever you listen and find us, and give us a like, subscribe, and share with the family. So we greatly appreciate you guys again. Let us know if we can do anything for you out here at Jefferson County Extension, and we look forward to seeing you next time.